Hello, everybody. My name is Tucker, and welcome back to our Russian Fishing for Spin Fishing series. Today, I want to do something a little bit different. I bought the equipment to move over to a jigging rig. Someone actually even posted that this is a decent idea, and I agree with them. So, I wanted to give it a try today. So, you go to change. Typically, it's a lure rig. Change it over to jigging rig. That requires a jig head and a soft plastic lure. So, I bought two. I actually had all of these. I ended up buying these two. Messed around a little bit earlier with this, caught a couple of small fish, but I want to try this one. I was using the big purple one earlier, but we're over here at 92 ish. Uh, Not perfect, but want to just cast out and see what we can get. Looks like it's going to be a decent weather for this. So I did come out here in the boat. I pressed K to drop the anchor here, and I want to turn my speed up here to between 30 and 40. And then you want to do what's called a jig step. And we've kind of done fake jig steps before, but never real ones. So if you look at my hand, I want to go around once and wait, two. Around once, wait, two. And here in a second, you'll see in the bottom left corner there, it says jig step. Sometimes going around twice is a little bit better for me. I tend to keep it better, and we got a fish on. It seems like a pretty decent one, too. I caught a 2.4 kilo Arctic char here earlier, and also our first normal char. This one has a feeling it might be a char. Got a lot of perch as well, too, on the other lure. Ike is a risk since we don't have a good leader. A little bit of a risk there, but honestly, the equipment's not super expensive that I'm using. The lures are 4 or 5 silver, and I think the jig head was 20 silver itself. So just in messing around with it earlier today, I didn't have enough time to do a full episode. Just wanted to give it a try. I ended up making, I think, 15 silver in about 10 hours in game. So it is going to rain. That's probably good for us here. It would be better to use a foam rubber fish, but those have to be crafted in game and requires lure crafting up to 10%, and we haven't done any of that yet, so it didn't make sense. And there's a char, a decent char, 1.22 kilograms and 366 or 3,665 silver. Nice looking fish there too. So started off pretty well today. Looks like someone just got a pretty decent one too. 3.3. That fish is probably going to be worth about 10 to 15 silver. Again, 2 circles, wait 2 or 3 seconds. 2 circles, wait 2 or 3 seconds. And there's something in the water right there that I always hit. And usually if you hit that, you lose your jig step. Usually this works better in cooler weather. With it being a little choppy out here because of the wind, it'll be interesting today. Usually over about 10, 12 degrees. It's a little bit slower, so got on here a little bit late to do this. It was after 6 a.m. before I even got logged in game, so we'll see how today goes. I am using my bigger rod for this. Got another fish on. This one feels a little bit smaller. I will say I've had a couple of fish fall off when I lift the rod up. I didn't go for quite the most expensive hook. That might be why. But I like to wait until the very last minute to lift them up now. And I like to put my hand where I can see it. That way you can make the 2 circles easier. And there, if you saw the line got slack, you don't want that. Lost count there, so I did 3 circles and then 3 seconds. And I'm not the best at jig stepping. I don't necessarily keep it on the whole time. One of those, it takes practice. And with the wind blowing the way it is, it's a little bit more difficult today. If you do this, make sure you drop your anchor and turn your engine off. Excuse me, I just got done eating dinner. Got a little bit of the hiccups there. You drop the anchor by pressing K, and then you can turn your engine off just so you don't have to listen to the noise by pressing G as in golf. And it does say that in the upper right corner over there. And another pretty decent fish on here. The waves are definitely pushing me around here. Another good char. 1.273. You remember we started right about 92.92. We've been pushed in 94.89. It's one of the things I don't necessarily like about the game is even if you drop the anchor, you will still float quite a ways before the anchor actually gets tight. You do have to be 45% in spin fishing to unlock jigging. Currently, I have not put any points in jigging. I'm debating between jigging and using a wobbler for where I want to put the point from hitting level 18. This keeps up, I may put it in jigging because we will use jigging more. In real life, we did get our first snow of the year or of the season last night. Wasn't too bad. It's actually all already gone by now, about a half an inch or so. And it was kind of half rain, half snow. My backyard, my neighbor has a big tree, and only half of my yard had snow in it last night. And only about a quarter of it actually had snow in it this morning when I got up. I am casting with no clip here. I actually hit a couple of new records, about 50-meter casts. So I am able to cast this out a long way. One thing to keep in mind here is I've got a 21 gram hook and a 3 gram lure on here that barely fits under the test weight. If I get over the test weight, you can damage your rig. So just something to keep in mind if you do this is make sure your test of your rod is high enough to support this. Which most of the bigger rods will be. When we're using a spinner, we're actually a little bit low on the test weight, so we can't cast it out as far as we should be able to because of that. Basically, don't get enough flex in the rod to cast it appropriately. How far we've moved, it's hard to keep a jig step up right now. Nice fish, J Woods. 6 kilogram rainbow. I think I actually want to be casting more around right there because of how far we moved. I actually got the touching bottom message there, so I didn't actually lift it up when I was rotating last time. And that will usually break your jig step. Basically, it sits on the ground for a second, lift it up for a second. Sits on the ground for a second, lift it up for a second. It's a fun, different thing to do. Definitely caught a couple of decent, a couple decent fish here. But I think it's time to go back to trolling. Usually, again, afternoons slows down enough that I like to switch back. So go back into the rig, switch it back to a lure rig. Again, I still don't have a leader. I did poke around on a different account, and there is still no 10 kilogram leaders anywhere that I can get to right now since I haven't unlocked Volkov. I tried to put the trolling motor on without lifting the anchor. Needless to say, that didn't work. So we'll go back to doing some trolling. I just realized I actually cast this out without a clip on, and I don't really want to do that. have a depth? It does not. In meters it is. We'll take a look at how much the 2 char are worth when we get back to the fish market at the end of the day. I did not look at orders around now. I did when I logged in earlier. That was 3 or 4 hours ago. It's actually kind of late. It's about 7:30 my time. And I haven't recorded either episode yet today. So gonna be a bit of a scramble to get them both done. But I'm okay with that. Good Ventus. I did notice earlier when I was looking at, I think it was the US weekly Arctic chars, this Satori lure is doing really well here as well. So just something to keep in mind if you have one of those. I did not even look to see if I could buy one because it's pulling in some big fish, bigger than we can support. Or stuff we'd have to chase all around the lake, and I'm not in the mood to do that today. It was a little bit slow. Again, from what I see, looking at the records regularly, the foam rubber fish does a lot better there. We got to grind up lure making, and I don't have the silver for that yet. You could always find someone that does have premium to send you one, but sooner or later, lure making will be something we work on. There's a lot of things I want. I want to be able to build my own leaders. I did take a look at winding mosquito on a different account. The lure making tool is about 385 silver and a decent set of about 10 kilogram fluorocarbon line to make the leader is about 85. So we're looking at 470 silver. So we may be close after today. Nice Ventus there. We may be close after today. I don't know. I think we're 420-ish. 450-ish. Because don't forget to come back here requires 20, I think it's 27, 28 silver. All right, this is not doing anything, so I want to switch off it. Let's go with the spiker. My guess is these 2 char will be about 20 to 30 silver combined. And we may go back over there first thing tomorrow morning. Try the same thing. Try a different lure for a little bit. Maybe the wind won't be blowing at 7.8 miles per second, meters per second. And a 7.8 mile per second wind, that's only a 420 mile an hour wind. Nothing major. Not seeing a lot of fish in chat either, so it seems like today's pretty quiet. As I hook a fish that starts pulling drag immediately. Again, this rod's pretty small. This reel's pretty small. It's less than 5.5 kilos, so it's easy to pull drag on it. So one of the next things we need to do is probably upgrade the reel on that, move it over to here. But I think that's going to be number 2. I think number 1 is going to be let's get the stuff to make our own leaders. For some reason, fishing with undersized equipment is fun for me. I don't know why. Maybe it's the sense of accomplishment when you actually pull in something you're not expecting to. I would love to get into ultralight fishing, but we're nowhere near ready for that. That's very expensive. That might be the direction we go. Whatever this is pretty good. $2-kilo lake trout. Thought it would be a little bit bigger than that. I was actually surprised when it just popped out of the water at the end. There we go. Open a drink up and have my full voice again. How cold it was. The walking of the dog earlier today caused my nose to run a little bit, and then food didn't help that situation. And I literally just finished eating right before I started recording. I'm kind of glad I started recording when I did, otherwise it would be really late doing this episode. This episode will finish up getting recorded between 8 and 9. It then has to be uploaded and processed by YouTube, which usually takes a couple of hours. I can usually get it uploaded pretty quickly. I've got really good internet here. But the YouTube processing of an hour-long episode to get HD is typically an hour or two. So if this finishes, we'll say 8:30, I'll have it uploaded by 8:45. So that gives it 3 hours to process before I typically release it. It's a little bit tight. And then I still have to go record a float fishing episode here in a second too. Being cold out today, we're getting a lot of small fish. Chat's pretty quiet too. There's a decent grayling, I think. Maybe? Nope. Wishful thinking. I just ran into something. There's a decent grayling, 800 gram. There was an 800 gram grayling order about 5 hours ago, so hope it's still there. I doubt it. Oh. I've got a cut on the bottom of my foot from a couple weekends ago, and it's starting to heal and itch like no other. But that's good news. It's healing, so I'm just trying not to reopen it. I was putting a fence up and stepped on the bottom of a T-post to help force it into the ground. The ground was pretty damp, and it went about halfway in and then hit solid ground and evidently penetrated my shoe. There's actually a hole in the bottom of my sole I've found. Interestingly, I was wearing white socks and it doesn't look like it penetrated the sock. And the white sock was still white, which was good, but there was definitely a small hole in the bottom of my foot. And it's right on that pad right behind your big toe where a lot of your balance comes from. So a couple of days walking was not fun. And I've got a bad right knee and it's my right foot. So my knee hurts from walking weird on it for the past few days. And it being cold. Getting old is not fun. Actually, I have tendonitis in my knee from 6th grade, and it's not been fun getting cold for a long, long time. A little bit slow today. I mean, we've got 18 fish in 28 minutes. Some of that was jigging time, which I expected to be a little bit slower anyway, just because it takes longer. Weather looked like for tomorrow. Wind's a little bit less, still nice and cool, so I think jigging's going to be a good idea for the 4 to 7 a.m. window. I'm an idiot. There's a fish on here and it wasn't locked. Am I a double idiot? No, there's a fish on here, but it's locked. I'm surprised that was a marker. Oh. Well, let's reel this one in. Fish got off this one while I was pulling in that other one. But we got a lot of line out. So what happened there was I forgot to close the reel and the fish that was on never was able to pull the rod down because there was no tension on the line. It just pulled most of the line out of the rod. Evidently, I hooked another one and he got away there too. Double shameful. I need to get that line reeled in and recast. Just because how much is out there, it's so slack out there in the water. I mean, there's where it is, somewhere. But there's probably 150 meters of line out there. How much line does this thing have on it? 197 meters, and it was about third left. So there was about, I'm going to say 50, 60 meters on the rod when I realized I was an idiot. And that's one thing to keep in mind. Even though I bought 350 meters of line, because it's 0.18 millimeters, I can only fit 197 meters of it on it. You can get an idea by hovering over this as you look at the reel there. And this is a smaller reel, so I'm not surprised, or a smaller spool. So I'm not surprised I can't keep a whole lot of line on it. Since this reel does support being on a light rod, I'm not surprised. It's a bit smaller spool. This one, I got 226 meters on it. Now, the theory is that your line still wears as if you had 350 meters in use, even though you don't have all of it on. So it's not like I can go cut 100 meters off that line. But if I had 350 meters and I've got 175, doing math right in my head, if I've got half of it on my spool, it should last twice as long as if I had the full 350 meters. At least that's the theory behind it. Because your line does wear, and as it wears, it doesn't support as much weight. So, while this is 10.2 kilograms, it's got 2% wear, so it's basically 10 kilograms right now. Small Vendus. Looks like a small, might be a marker grayling. I have to say it looks like a small grayling. It might be a big Vendus. No, it's a small, medium grayling. I'll take it. Probably need to buy some spoons, lure types, for the big rod. I'm not too comfortable I'd like to have a leader on it. I think that would increase the bite rate some. And putting a 5 kilogram leader on it doesn't make sense. So assuming we get 60, 70 silver today, which I think is, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. Depends on cafe orders, I think. I just saw we got skill points there. Evidently you don't need 40%. I thought you did. Can't tell exactly what percentage you need for jigging. 45 unlocks 3-way jig. Which might be it better. Yeah, I think that would probably be a little bit better for what we're trying to do. That's 45%. We're not there yet. We'll get there though. And honestly, fishing with jigging will probably give us more chances for skill point percentage upgrades because we don't do a lot of jigging fishing yet. And to me, it seems like when you use different lures or different methods. Ooh. Hello. 485-gram Vindy. Nice fish. Sorry, that one surprised me mid-sentence there. When you use different fishing methods or lure types, you seem to get more skill points, skill percentage in my opinion. Maybe it just feels like that, but that's what it feels like to me. I lock that, yes. Wanted to make sure I didn't do a dumb after catching that big Vendus. Still not a trophy, but close, I think. Nice Arctic here. 2.1. What are the record Venduses right now? Vendus 650. Yeah, we're not there. And then water body records are huge. I think it's 800 gram. Yeah, 828 gram is the record. That's a blue trophy from folks I've talked to. All right, let's switch over to the. We have a black. Yeah, we got a black spinner. Let's try that. And we got something decent on the other rod. I didn't get a chance to look at that black spinner too much just because I heard this rod going off and didn't want to be completely dragging it. Laker. Ooh, the friction brake is really worn on that. I'm gonna say that didn't feel right. So if you remember a couple of episodes ago, we took the reel off that. I took it to the workshop, upgraded the friction brake. So now I can take this one off and I've got a brand new, basically fully repaired mechanism's a little worn, but the friction brake is fully repaired and at 5 kilo. Usually around 15% is where I notice that the friction brake is worn. And when that fish was pulling that much drag, it felt like it was a much bigger fish than it turned out to be. That's what gave me an idea the friction brake might be worn. And if you saw when I looked at the reel as a whole, it was only 6%, something like that. 8%. But the friction brake was 18.1% of that wear. So the friction brake was 20% less powerful than a 5.4 kilo. So it was a, we'll say 4.4, 4.3 kilo friction brake at that point. And here's a much bigger, much stronger fish. Not bigger, but 839 gram hide is stronger than that 1.2 kilo lake. So definitely made a difference once I turned the friction brake from 16 to 20s. The name some people have. I will probably take this reel back to the workshop and repair it soon. Probably not this episode, just because I think I'm going to be pretty close to being able to afford stuff to make my own leader. But in the near future, I'll drop it off for the 20-30 silver to repair that. That's worth it. One thing to keep in mind that I just thought of is there's no longer a clip on this rod. So I had a 10-meter clip or whatever. And because I switched reels, there's no longer a clip. So I'll reel it back in. Let's put a 10-meter clip on it. And let's go ahead and go over to the dark Aquila since it is nighttime. How I noticed that was it was dragging at a weird, when I looked at it, it was very far behind the other rod and it shouldn't have been. And that's when I realized there's no clip in my head because I switched reels. If you switch line, if you switch reels, that'll happen. Another good Vindy. Ah, wrong place to put my finger. I keep hitting S instead of A. And that takes the boat out of trolling mode. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably do another loop of the island here. And then that'll get us to where the sun's starting to come back up. And I'll go back over that way and try doing some more jigging again in the morning as the sun comes up. The 42 fish. We actually caught up on a fish per minute basis, but quality is kind of interesting because we got some good big venduses, a lot of perch, and the graylings we got were kind of small. So I don't know. And the Lakers. Yeah, smallish fish. Still marker Vindy though. Looks like we might have another good Vindus on the other line. It wasn't a marker. Sorry about knowing game sound and maybe a little bit of lag. I just had to uh, plug in my mouse real quick and didn't want the Windows noises of it disconnecting from wireless to wired. It was running low on power there. Either a huge Vindus or a small Laker. Mouse actually cut out twice on me, so I knew the battery was getting pretty low. And I just have to unplug the little receiver thing and plug the cable into the mouse. I could use this mouse as Bluetooth, but because I work from home, I actually have it mapped up with the receiver to this laptop and then Bluetooth to my work laptop. I can just switch the switch on the bottom of it if I need to. Yeah, I think we'll do one more loop of the island here. Then we'll go try jigging again for a little bit. See if we can't catch some more char. Vendus. Tiny though. Another Vindus. "92" is about even with the southern edge of the island. Pull this in, put the normal kilo on it for a few more, or put the spiker on it for this trip. I'll pull this one in and put the normal kilo on it. That's so much better with a less worn brake. Even if that was a little bit smaller than I thought it was. Okay, maybe we're not going jigging. We'll see. Come on, fish fit. Laker, I saw it. Not bad, 2.9. Definitely glad I switched to the other reel, the less worn reel. Speaking of which, okay, I did turn the friction brake down. I forgot to lock the reel. I'm an idiot again. I heard a fish jumping, and that gave me an idea there was something on, but I didn't see anything. The reason I didn't see anything is because I was an idiot. All right, let's go ahead and put that one away. Start reeling this one in to switch over to jigging. So there goes the anchor. Turn the engine off. Switch to the jigging rig. Again, 3-shot jig is probably what I really want. Three-way rig jig. But can't use that yet, so let's try the purple one. Take the clip off. And yeet. Turn retrieval speed down. .35 is about where my brain has the rhythm. 40 is a little too quick for me. And keeping the rhythm is a very important way, or very important to the method of keeping a jig step up. And it's a perch. Not a good one either. Another fish on. I've actually seen people double jig step. It's harder to do, especially with windy conditions. But you do a spin, put the rod down, do another spin on the other rod, put it down. Just switch back and forth. I'm not in the mood to even try that right now. But I'm sure if you look at other creators on YouTube, you'll find episodes of that. Too much work for me. All right, this purplish one seems to only pull in perch. I'm going back to 401. Interesting. I haven't been able to get jig step to come up once this time. Here it is. Again, 2 rotations. Wait. 2. 2 rotations. Wait. 2. Nawak was probably celebrating that big 7 trout and lost his other fish. Probably do one more cast and then call it for the day. All right, last cast of the day. Already over an hour anyway. Gotta get this uploaded. And we got a fish on. Good. Gotta get this uploaded. Gotta get the other series recorded. Kinda need a bio break anyway. Feels like another perch. It's not moving around like a char usually does. And it was another perch. Lift the anchor up. And we'll head back over to the dock. So I am holding shift right now and W at the same time. Goes faster, also turns much tighter. So if you do need to spin around real quick, holding shift while turning is helpful. Don't have a rod on the boat. All right, so cafe wise, didn't quite get a big enough Indus there. No brown trout. There is an 800 gram grayling that's worth the 37 silver there. We didn't get big, super big perch and nothing else. So 37 silver from that fish. I'm gonna guess another 80. So I'm gonna say 120 silver overall. But the 2 char we caught are 30 silver. So definitely was worth, it was definitely fun doing the fishing earlier. We did get 92 silver, so that's 130, 127, 129 silver. Not a bad day. Not a bad day at all. Gets us up to 580. That should be enough to go buy the stuff to make us a leader, and maybe some stuff to mess around with building lures. We'll see. But I appreciate everyone watching. We'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you all have good tight lines, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye now.